Alright, this video is to show how I am matching up the processed color .tif with the original fcir.tif. In other words, the one that we have named the same number as the color image. And so I'm picking up in the process immediately after I have created, or after I have done the band-to-band registration, and I've made sure that those three RGB layers are lined up. And now's what I need to do is import the color image into this fcir. So File, Open, and I go find the processed color image, and fortunately we don't really have to reference anything except for what we've already named this fcir, and it ends in 140. And so I open that up, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this into this other file. Before I can drag it, I need to unlock the background. So I double click the little padlock and then just click OK, and that allows me to drag the layer. I click the layer and drag it, hover it over the other tab of the fcir and place it in there. And as you can see, it's probably going to be off. So I make sure that the color layer, and it created a color here, or it created a new layer on top of the fcir. Sorry. I take the opacity down on this color layer to about 50, and I get it kind of close, but it's not quite perfect. This right here is the field that we're looking at. So I zoom in there to that field, and I make sure that the buildings, the roads are lined up, and that right there looks pretty good. So once I've done that, I zoom back out, bring this opacity back up to 100%. As you can see, the original fcir is also locked, so I'm going to double click it, hit OK, that unlocks it. I'm going to select both layers, so I hold down Shift and click the color layer, and click the control mouse, and that allows me to rotate it. Now you can either rotate it manually through Edit, Free Transform, but I just hover my mouse over the corner until I see that it's a bent arrow, and that will allow me to adjust both images. If I get it pretty close, I hit Enter to finalize it. And on this next step, I think is what you guys usually do is you guys use this tool and you cut it out and then you copy those into another one. As what I do, instead of doing that, is I use the crop tool, and maybe you do this too, I can't remember. But I crop out the image, and what that's going to do is it's going to crop both of the layers. So I select that crop, and now it's its own image, and it's ready to be flattened. I first do the fcir, so I hide the color. There's the, oh, and you can see I included some of that there. So I get rid of that. And that's why I do the FCIR first, because it's, as you know, it's smaller than the original color image. Anyway, once I've got the FCIR up, you can test it if you like and see, yeah, it's right on. I come up to Layer, Flatten Image. It's going to ask me if I want to discard the hidden layers, and I hit OK. And then I'm going to Save As. And I put it in the folder that I've titled Field Images. And this one, the name of this one is Atoms. And I do the date 7/31 or whenever we did it. I save that, hit OK. Now this is the crucial part next here. As you can see, the color layer is gone because earlier I had him discard it. That's where I use this history right here. I just click on the last action that I performed before flattening the image, which was crop. And when I click it, you see the layers back now. So I bring that, I make that visible, that layer visible. Again, I flatten the image. And this time it's not going to ask you to discard any hidden images because both of them were visible. However, the color image was on top. And I'm ready to save this one. So I save as, and it asks me if I want to save it as the same name, but I want to be able to differentiate. So is how I do that. I usually do a space. It doesn't really matter, but I name it color. So I save that, hit OK. Now, sorry for the shaking, but now is what I do in ArcView. Once I bring it over into ArcView, I am able to select, which one was it? Oh, B&H Atoms. And I hold down the Shift. Sorry. I hold down the Shift and select both. The one that's BH Atoms color, BH Atoms TIFF by itself. So with them both selected, it brings both of them in. And since I've already done these two, it didn't ask me to do the pyramid, but usually it asks you twice if you want to organize them in pyramids. Or I'm not exactly sure what the terminology is, but and as you would guess, the color's off. So I select the bottom one, double click it, I change these bands, none, I apply, and then instead of closing it, I just double click this one, do the same, and now I've got the FCIR and the color. Finally, when I export them as JPEGs, after I've created the NDVI and the colorized NDVI, I save one more JPEG simply as the color image, but I do leave the trace around it. So it's just an extra JPEG that I create. And that's it. Thanks. Hope this helped.